Hi, this is Paul Falsey from the newbiehelper.com, and this slideshow is going to be about my take on content curation. What is content curation? Well, the question came up on the WordPress Goldmine forum. One of the guys was asking about content curation software, and another guy, Rob, jumped in and started giving some real good info on it. Seems to be lots of software out there that is offering to help you do content curation. So content creation is not auto-blogging. The idea is not to just copy hundreds of articles and just slap them on your site. The idea seems to be more about, go to the Huffington Post and you'll see. So all these news sites get a news article, they put their own spin on it, and they link back to the original news article, or sometimes they include the video on it. It's not auto-blogging, which is really just a straight copy. Because it's quick, it's easy, so why not slap hundreds of pages of rubbish up there? I agreed to do a 2-week content curation test. I didn't want to buy any software. I didn't want to test anyone else's software out and learn how to do it. I wanted to just take the general idea that was given and put my own spin on it. Could I do it manually without any investment in software? And if so, what would happen? So the first thing I did was I set up Google Alerts, and I set it to receive all once a day. So this basically meant I got 2 emails from Google with links to news items and blog posts and website posts. Okay, and you just go to google.com/alerts and set them up. I chose a dead site. Its high earnings had been $7 a month. Was a year old. It had 4 pages of unique content. It was in a health related niche. So that's pretty much, obviously I'm not going to give you the domain name. It was a .org, it's not a .com. So that was the one I chose. Usually it earned nothing, but the high earning has been $7 a month. What I did was each day, I did it from the 18th of January onwards. I think it was the 18th, I read the alerts, I chose the newsworthy items, which basically meant that everybody's blog got kicked out because people just recycle and auto-blog junk for their websites quite often, and I didn't want to use those as a reference point. So I would look for press releases and items on hospital websites, news websites, CNN, those kinds of places. I would write a synopsis, which more than often ended up being a commentary. So my thoughts on what the real issue was, what people should really be doing, and how money should really be spent on this medical issue. And I would put an intro, so I would, write an intro and then link to the original. Now, my intro would be 150 to 300 words. I once used a quote from the article. Okay, I didn't put huge chunks of quotes from the original post. Once I did it. And I would do a direct URL link out. I would not do read more on the article by clicking here and link that. I actually just slapped the URL in there. So very unsophisticated. I did generally read the press release or the news article, and obviously after you've been reading these a while you tend to learn more about your subject anyway, so it becomes a bit easier to write that intro. I linked out to places like CNN, to TV news sites, channel whatever in your local town, to hospital websites, to doctors and dentists and the professionals. I did not link, I put linked. I did not link out to Joe Blow's blog and obvious made for AdSense sites. If the content on them had been totally original and awesome and newsworthy, maybe I would have done, but I certainly never found any that were. And this may be part of the thing. Maybe the idea with content curation is that you are linking out to high-end sources, so you are making yourself seem more of an authority. And the link would be literally just at the bottom of the post, and I would say, this is my take on it, let me know what you think. You can read the original press release or news report here, and put the L. Did it work? That's the big question, because you could have just wasted 2 weeks of your life. I didn't do it every day, because while I was trying to be dedicated, I had picked a niche that I didn't particularly like. So I don't know if I was hoping it would fail and then I could go, Yahoo sucks, this doesn't work. But unique visitors. So I went January the 18th to January the 31st, and I, in Google Analytics, compared it to the same period previously. So yes, traffic went up. It's only 60 visits, but it's actually 10%. Page views went up a lot, so obviously people were looking through more pages. I read that as. How many pages per visit? Again, it went up, just over 10%. Average time on site doubled. Now, I didn't change the home page. I left the home page as the big, long original. I didn't change the format of the blog. I did move AdSense from the top to the middle of the post, but that was more to do with the Google algorithm change that's going on. That wasn't to do with the content curation. So people who stayed on the site longer, which I would assume means they were reading more. The bounce rate dropped. It was 90%, which I'm embarrassed to admit, but there you go. And it went down to 85%. Still not wonderful, but to keep this test as pure as I could, I didn't change the theme, I didn't move anything else around, I just added the new content, and it was in the a pretty normal sidebar, with the images, using the magazine plugin. I used WP Easy Ads to run the adverts. Straight AdSense, I didn't change anything. My AdSense income went up from $7 to 27. So an increase of 317%. Now, was it a fluke? I don't think so. I didn't share the site with anybody, I didn't build any new links. As far as I can tell, it didn't move up for any keywords. Now, I don't know whether somebody loved it so much that they were sharing it on Facebook or Twitter. I never noticed any of it, but then I never checked for it. Maybe my suddenly awesome content that was being updated every couple of days or so was responsible. But I really did not manipulate this site in any way other than adding content and linking out. And it wasn't even long content. I mean, I wasn't doing... I got a friend who writes awesome posts of 1,200 words. She knows her subject. She's turning it into a real authority site. I didn't do that. I wrote 150 to 300 words, I read the original posts and I, put an intro. Sometimes I was snarky, because that was how I was feeling after my day, so that was what I did. Sometimes I felt the press releases were stupid, so that was what I wrote. I didn't see an increase in comments. I didn't see people commenting. But they were staying around. They were reading more, as the thing has shown you. So my thoughts. I'm actually going to do it again. I'm actually going to test it on another 2 sites. I'm doing one in a credit site, because that always pays well. And I'm doing one in a weight loss site. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look for news alerts on new diets. I'm going to look for news on credit cards and credit in general. And I'm going to curate it. I'm going to put my own take on it. What I'm not going to do is try and make it keyword rich. I'm not going to check the amount of keywords. I did no SEO work at all on this other site. That just shows you how uninterested I was on it. I was literally just writing about the news, and that's what I'm going to do this time. And I'm going to see, it'll be, I'll do it for the rest of February and see how these two sites do. I actually find it quite hard because I have so many other projects going on that I can't always write every day, but maybe I'll give one of them to a staff member and just say your job is now to write, to curate one post a day and show them this video and show them what I want. And what's that going to cost you? $5 a day? So if you did it for a month and you don't recover the money the first month, maybe you would recover it month 2, month 3, month 4. I think it's worth looking at. I'm not going to rush out and buy software. I do not for 1 minute think that I have got this 100% right. I do know that it worked on this site, which I think is good news. I did speak to a buddy of mine who had been trying it as well, and what he was doing was actually copying the complete article. So if he saw a press release, he would copy the complete press release into his page and put a paragraph at the top with his thoughts and his take on it and a link to the original. Well, my thought is that you're reducing the amount of unique content per page. So maybe that's having something to do with it. Maybe the fact that I linked out to CNN and high value websites is something that helped. So if you're going to try it, do 2 different sites. Do one of them where you copy everything in. Do one of them where you do it the way I did, where you just do an intro. Even do a third one where you do some combination where you link to Joe Blow's site. But I didn't do any link building. I suppose that would be the next one. What about content curation 3 days a week and link building 2 days a week? Some combination of that. Look, this is a real quick test. It worked for me. If you could increase every site you own 300% month on month, you'd probably be doing okay. I'm not sure you can, but I think it's something worth looking at. I'm not saying that you should go and pull every article from eZine articles that is in your niche. I've seen somebody talking about that again recently. Been there, done that. Google are all over it. And so they should be. Doesn't add value. And that's one of the things I noticed was that a lot of the sites I'm looking at really were junky. So try and raise the bar a bit. Even if you've got 20 or 30 sites, get a team member, train them well, check on what they're doing, and improve those sites. Even if you do it for a month and it costs you $70 or $100 for the month, and your income only goes up $25 a month, you've been paid back in 3 or 4 months. So after that, it's all gravy. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry the slideshow was a bit bland, just a plain white background. Please let me know your thoughts. What are your experiences with content creation? I will be including links below the video to the forums and the websites and people who I would listen to. But I'm certainly not rushing out to get any software for this next test. And I'll let people know, at the end of February, early March, I'll try and do another one. I'm also putting together a pretty large e-commerce site, so I'm a bit busy. But I shall try and keep everybody updated. Thanks for watching and let me know if you enjoy. Cheers.